Hey y'all, welcome back to
Jinx!
Andrew, how are we feeling?
I feel pretty good.
You feel pretty good?
I like today's movie.
Yeah?
I think.
You think?
I think.
Okay.
So hold on. Wait, hold on. Tell them what movie we watched this week first.
Today, we watched Bird Box. I'm
Yep.
sure many of you have heard of it. The 2018, kind of a blockbuster, honestly. Like the blockbuster of streaming services, I would say. People were raving about this movie when it first came out.
Yeah, I didn't see it though.
No,
this is
you
my
didn't.
first time ever seeing
Yeah.
Bird Box, which is, it seems kind of crazy, but it's also like one of those movies where I feel like nowadays, like a movie will blow up and like it'll be the big talk. It'll be like, hey, did you see? Did you see?
Yeah.
Did you see? And honestly, like I feel like I personally am just never plugged into like those kinds of movies.
Sure.
Like I missed the Saltburn hype.
You did.
By like 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like I just finally watched Saltburn like a few weeks ago with you. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is one of those. Wait, hold on. So jog my memory. Was this the movie that had people like trying to drive cars blindfolded and
Yes.
stuff, like in real life?
Yeah, this movie,
so dumb.
it blew up so much. I feel like we were so bored back in like, not only, okay, so I think like the teens, 2016 to like 2019, I think we were like bored, and then COVID hit, and then everyone was like ridiculously bored, but you couldn't do anything outside, so you had to like do all of your boredom online.
Okay.
You know?
But did this movie blow up when it came out in 2018, or was it a little bit delayed and it blew up during COVID?
It came out right, it blew up right when it came out.
Okay, so like 2018, it
Yeah.
was like a really big thing.
If I'm remembering correctly, it was kind of the only, or at least the first Netflix original that I can think of that has had that much hype around it. I can't think of another Netflix original.
I'm trying to think. I think that's true.
Yeah, the
That
only
is
other
true.
one that I have seen that I personally have really liked is They Clone Tyrone.
Yeah, but that one didn't really have like hype around it. Like I didn't hear about anybody else talk about that movie outside of
Yeah.
you and I, pretty much. So
Yeah, which is wrong.
yeah, go watch They Clone Tyrone. That's
Yeah.
been one of my favorite Netflix originals.
It's a
a good one.
really, really great movie. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Bird Box needs any sort of explaining. If you haven't watched it yet, then I mean, what are you doing?
I haven't watched it yet. So if you
Yeah.
haven't watched it yet, don't feel too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not that big a deal.
No, but honestly, how did you feel watching it on your first time?
I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty good. I
Yeah.
feel the same way about this movie that I think I feel about. Oh God, what's that? A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place.
I feel
Okay.
like this movie and A Quiet Place are like they occupy like the same nook. for
They
me.
do. I mean, one just has like the hearing thing,
Yeah,
and the other
right.
one has the seeing thing.
Right, and I know like a Quiet Place came after
Yes.
Bird Box, right?
It did.
So they very much sort of feel like that monster where you have to eliminate one of your like five senses. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, I also think that there's a there's a remake, not a remake, it's a knockoff of A Quiet Place that's also a Netflix original. It's called The Silence, and I watched The Silence after I watched A Quiet Place to see if it was
Okay.
actually like, I was bored to see if it was actually like a remake of A Quiet Place,
Okay,
and it
interesting.
was pretty much.
well, I mean, even in The Quiet Place, like they have that whole scene where Emily Blunt's in that movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. It was like
It's John Krasinski's wife.
Yeah. They have that whole scene. I think it's the best scene in the movie, probably, where she's pregnant and she's
like,
giving birth.
yeah.
But she has to be quiet because the things are in the house or
Yeah.
whatever. So, and there's obviously like the scene in this movie where Sandra Bullock and this other lady are both
Olympia.
giving birth at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's the crazy dude that's going around ripping down the things.
Yeah.
So there are a few things that are a little bit. Number one, my biggest thought about this movie that I had was I was like, Zatoichi would kill this movie.
Zatoichi?
There's this series of movies in the 70s called Zatoichi.
Okay.
Zatoichi is like a blind samurai. And so I watched all of these movies, and like the cool thing about Zatoichi is like because he's blind, they say that like all of his other senses are like super heightened,
Yeah.
so he can
Yeah.
feel like brisks of wind and things like this.
Yeah.
He's like deadly accurate with the samurai sword
Yeah.
because he has every other sense.
Hey, Tom was pretty accurate with that gun, though, huh?
He was pretty accurate, but he still wasn't Zatoichi.
He
you
wasn't
know?
Zatoichi. Yeah,
So
I know.
my big thought was I know he wouldn't fit this universe at all, but
Mm-hmm.
like a Zatoichi character in like one of these movies, that'd be kind of sweet.
Was he the first blind samurai type? Or did that come before him?
No, as far as I know,
Yeah.
that was like the first sort of a story like that.
Okay.
I kept thinking the whole time though, I was like, how cool would it be if you like if you change it up a little bit? Like it could no longer be a horror movie; it'd have to be like an action movie.
Yeah.
But like a blind samurai action movie, like Zatoichi, I guess.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool if you were constantly having to like, I don't know, maybe that feels a little more like a video game. But like he has to like keep warring against like all these crazy things, but he's blind the whole time. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, that's an aside from me, but I kept thinking about Zatoichi this whole movie. I was like, how sweet would it be if there was like just one old man, like
no.
They get to the blind school at the end, but none of these blind people are harboring any cool skills. They're just like off living on this hippie commune.
What was that? What was that movie? That it wasn't Hush. It was the movie about where they break into the blind guy's house, and like that's him.
What was that movie called?
I don't know, but I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Pretty interesting. No, but I know what movie you're talking about. And
Don't Breathe.
Yeah, that's right. Don't Breathe.
Yeah.
And he has some kind of cool skills. You know?
Yeah,
what
I mean, like he can shoot you.
Right.
He's blind.
And he's blind. Yeah, but as far as we know about this, like, blind community of the blind at the end, like, and none of these people...
Yeah, they don't really have... I guess they don't really need to have the skills, because this thing isn't really... It doesn't really seem like it's trying to get in there. Maybe it is. Because it can't open doors.
Right.
It can't move through walls.
Right.
That's what is most interesting to me about this movie is what the monster is. Because you don't know really what it is, and it doesn't really seem to have any concrete cryptid lore or anything like that. Because Ray from Get Out, I don't know what his name is in this movie, but he's T.S. MFing A.
Yeah.
And Get Out. His character in this movie seems to have a lot of knowledge on cryptid lore and everything like that, and he's trying to kind of decode what it is exactly.
It's not even like cryptid lore, I don't think. He's like into like ancient religions and mythology and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both.
Is
because that's what it seemed like to me. He definitely talks about end times. And I think
like apocalypse stuff.
Yes, the concept of the end times, the concept of the rapture, that's what it felt like to me, at least.
Right.
A lot of it felt very rapture-y.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's this thing. I think the running theory could be that it's an angel, like a biblically accurate angel, because people have very different reactions to it. Either it's very beautiful, either it's horrifying, or sometimes people are even seeing like their dead loved ones and everything, like they would be in heaven or something like that. But then
I see. Like it's so beautiful that like in order to get to it, I need to kill myself. That kind of a thing.
Yes, but also you have these people who are left behind who can see the thing and they think that it's beautiful, but they themselves cannot reach whatever would be the afterlife or whatever would be the beautiful thing, right? Because they see it, but they're not really affected by it. They're only wanting to open other people's eyes to it.
I see. That was kind of my ultimate big question about the movie by the time it ended was like, why are there these people? Obviously, the blind people make sense.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, they're blind.
Yeah, they can't see it.
They can't see even if they wanted to.
Right.
Right. But then you have these people who can see and they don't choose to unalive themselves. I can't believe I have to say that. I have been indoctrinated by algorithms. I hate that. That's terrible.
Yeah. We've been censored, but
I'm gonna say poof. They're gonna poof themselves.
I like that.
I'm not saying the other thing.
The unalive.
I'm not saying that. It makes me feel terrible.
To poof themselves.
Yeah, it gives me a real uncomfortable feeling in my stomach. So they choose not to poof themselves, but they never really made it clear as to why. There's like these two different categories of people, and it's never really spoken about why.
Yeah.
And it made me think more about the themes of the movie.
Sure.
Right? Like these familial relations are brought up several times
Yes.
throughout the movie. Just
Yes.
on my initial reading of it. I mean, it's brought up at the beginning of the movie when they're in the room with the doctor talking about their own childhood, the sister Sandra Bullock and her sister talking about their childhood. It's brought up a second time with the old bitter guy with the shotgun. And Sandra Bullock's like, you remind me of my dad. And he's like, well, your dad sounds like a pretty good guy. And then it's brought up again when, you know, she gets with the soldier guy and they have Tom. Kids of their own, right? Like, you just keep sort of running into this idea of raising a family. And what does that mean? I don't think this is a fully formed take on the movie. So I'm not saying it is.
People are going to take you seriously. So
oh geez, no pressure then, I guess. Well, I kept thinking about the Pink Floyd album, The Wall. The Wall is all about like a rock star. Okay. And he has this unhealthy relationship with his mother. Okay. And the whole idea behind it is that the mom has tried to comfort this child from birth and really sheltered him. Basically a helicopter parent. Yeah. Really sheltered him from scary things in life, from bad things in life, from all those things. And, you know, in trying to save her child, she actually just creates all of these problems for her kid. Yeah. And so that was, I started thinking about that, especially during the scene with with Sandra Bullock and the soldier. And the soldier guy is telling the kids a story about his childhood. Yes. And she gets real upset. She's like, why would you tell the kids that story? You know, I don't want them to go out thinking that they're going to be able to play at some point. They need to listen to me so that they can survive, right? And he's like, well, they need to believe in something, you know? He's like, they can't, just because they're living doesn't mean they're living, you know? Right,
they have to have some sort of motivation to survive, not just listen to me.
Exactly. And that sort of came back to that for me, right? Is that Sandra Bullock's dad in this movie sort of sounded like one of those types where it was like, you know, well, there's nothing good in this life. You just gotta suck it up and, you know, dig through it because that's living, you know. And there's nothing else, right? And what's interesting about that, right, is that they both acknowledge that their dad was wrong. Both Sandra Bullock and her sister at the beginning of the movie, they're like, you know, we later learned that he just used those things as an excuse to treat us poorly. Yeah. And he was actually wrong the whole time about a lot of it. But then you're put in this actual survival context. Right. You kind of get what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, it's a really difficult situation to be in. You know, you're trying to figure out what is best for these kids in a survival situation. Everything that you once knew is completely gone. There's no school, there's no babysitters, there's no, you know, it's all of that. But the only thing that you have left really is this family structure. You have mom, dad, and you have two kids. Right. You have boy, girl, whatever. And I feel like there's definitely a lot trying to be said about how the two of them are wanting to parent, you know? Sure. Because on one hand, you have Tom, who wants to raise them as if there is hope for a brighter future. Right. Whereas Sandra Bullock's character is definitely wanting to raise them in the situation that they're in currently. And whichever one is better for them, you don't really know. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, at least not in that particular moment, I guess you could say. Not in that particular
moment. Because you do essentially need to raise children that are going to have survival skills and have like the survival instincts, because you have no idea how long this whole apocalyptic scenario is going to go on for. Sure. But then at the same time, you aren't giving them a reason as to why. It's a really big thing with parenting, right? Where I think older generations were more prone to the because I said so. You know, right. Whereas I think we've come to understand that children function a lot better, they listen a lot better, they behave a lot better if they understand why you're telling them to do certain things or why certain rules are in place.
Sure. Well, that for me is a little bit where my analogy sort of starts to fall apart. Sure. In my opinion, is that, like, you know, my idea works if there wasn't something so inherently bad about the monster,
Yes.
right? There's like a legitimate risk that the kids poof themselves.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't work because I think in a lot of these dynamics where whatever mother, father, whomever it is a helicopter parent overbearing, they're telling their child they need to be fearful of this, they need to be fearful of that, right? And in actuality, right, it's not so much that you need to be fearful of these things. You need to know and understand them so that when you encounter them, right, you can make the choices best for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's not really a one-to-one with the Bird Box monster, right? It doesn't really work so much in that way.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, oh, I don't really know if that's like the most perfect read of the movie. You know what I mean? It was something that I had thought of while we were watching it, but it didn't fully. By the time the movie concluded, I was like, well, that doesn't really, it doesn't totally work. My idea about it doesn't totally work.
Well, something that I feel like I need to, something that I need to get off my chest a little bit about this movie.
Yeah.
Is I have a really big problem in survival horror movies or survival action movies with kids being involved, because every single time without fail the kid is getting in the way somehow. The kid's doing something stupid. The kid is like whatever. The kid's not listening to the parent will tell them to do something specific and then it'll go and do the opposite. You know, I feel like it happens in pretty much every single survival movie that I've seen. And I understand that kids are stupid, but I also know and understand that kids are not that stupid. You know what I mean?
Yes and no.
Like, kids are smart. I feel like the way that they're written in survival movies often depicts them as being a lot stupider than they are.
Yeah, well, I don't. It's one of those difficult lines to balance, right? Where it's like you have these kids in there, right? And the question becomes like, is it hokier to have the kids follow everything perfectly, right? Or do you just write them and create a conflict where the child is involved, right? Because if they do everything perfectly, then it's almost like we're just ignoring the kids. And it's like, well, you know.
I think that you can do things better than making the kid ruin the entire plan or ruin the entire situation, because it happens every single time. Like, it's kids and pregnant women in movies that like always seem to have something go wrong with them that adds a level of difficulty.
I'm not trying to call you out here.
Okay.
I'm really not. But when we watch movies and there will be a kid and the kid will be like overly helpful or overly like good, do you also tend to find that irritating as well?
What do you mean overly helpful?
Like, we'll watch a movie and sometimes you'll have these kids that are like they're just always doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Like they're like super sweet or they're super whatever.
I can't really think of an example of that right now. I don't really see.
Think of the daughter in Kill Bill.
The daughter in Kill Bill. I didn't take issue with her, no.
Yeah, you did. When we walked out of Kill Bill, you're like, I didn't like her.
I didn't like the way she was written. I didn't like the way she was written, not because she was doing everything right. I didn't like the way she was written because she didn't feel like a child.
Right.
Like the way she was written felt super stale, and she didn't like it. She didn't actually feel like a kid to me.
And I think that's maybe what I'm trying to get in on is this like field that we're talking about. I feel like it's like landing a plane on a toothpick.
I don't think it is
it's so difficult because you can't if the kid is perfect. You're right, they don't feel like a kid. Because I agree with your take about Kill Bill. I do. I actually don't feel like
but I don't
think
Phoebe
is like I don't think she's a good depiction of a child.
You can make a kid not perfect and not have them like completely defiant or completely stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. The kids in Bird Box didn't bother me too much. I have to be honest with you. They really didn't get under my skin.
It's because I just get really frustrated with like, okay, so whenever a kid messes up in the movie, like my problem is Sandra Bullock's character gives these kids very simple rules to follow, and they're like very easy rules to follow. You know what I mean? And she's been raising them this way since they were little.
Yeah.
And they've managed to follow these rules for the majority of their lives, it seems. The one part where she's leaving the boat and she says, I need you guys to stay here and like keep low, whatever. You need to do this or else you're going to get hurt. She's like reiterating this to them like 5, 6, 7 different times. This is what you need to do.
Yeah.
She leaves. Probably maybe 15 minutes later, the girl just decides to get up for no reason. There's no reason for her to do that. She knows what Sandra Bullock has told her, which she doesn't call her mom, she calls her Marisol. But she knows that Marisol told her not to do those things. She knows that, like, there's a real danger there. Mm-hmm. But she just decides to get up and get out of the boat. Why? Why does she do that?
I see, and this is where I don't take issue with these things because I was a stupid ass child. Like, I look at the Bird Box kids and I'm like, yeah, I feel like I probably would have done that as a child in those situations.
Maybe this is the problem then, because I was a rule follower. I knew what I was told.
I look at the, like, I also, you know, my job is with kids.
Yeah.
And like, you're right in saying that like she's raised them this way from birth.
Yeah.
But like sometimes we will be doing like the same thing that we did Thursday this week will be the same thing that we were doing Thursday last week.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also the same thing that we were doing the Thursday the week before that Thursday. So we've done the same thing 3 weeks in a row. And still, like, you just gotta like repeat yourself. I'll say something 5 times and the kids still just like, they're not paying attention. They just don't want to follow the rules. They're just doing whatever they want. They think sometimes like it's not even necessarily malicious in a way. It's like they think for whatever reason, like because X happened, that means Y no longer applies, even if Y should always apply.
Sure.
If that makes any sense.
Sure.
And I think it's just difficult getting into a kid's brain. But yeah, sometimes I look at like the Bird Box movies and I have a tough time judging the kids because I was a terrible listener as a kid. Sometimes I didn't follow rules. There were definitely at least a million times where somebody told me very specific directions.
Sure.
And I didn't listen to any of it. The whole roster of directions just completely went over my head.
Okay.
If I were a Bird Box child, I'd probably been like, okay, she said to keep the blindfolds on, so we're good. Like I can walk around and.
Well, but she also said stay in the boat.
Right, and I'm saying that as a kid, I wouldn't have heard the stay in the boat part.
You would have heard one of them and not the other. So you're either taking the blindfold off or you're getting out of the boat.
That's what I'm saying. I'm pooping myself in the Bird Box universe if I'm one of these kids. It's a miracle. You should be happy they're even alive. If I were a Bird Box kid, I would have been poofed.
Okay, see, maybe that is the difference. Yeah. Because like as a child, I listened. I did what I was told. I was you know, well, I mean, my teachers loved me.
All right, that's the card we're pulling here. Yeah. I was the perfect child.
Listen,
I followed every rule to a T. Every I was dotted. Every T was...
I got anxious if I didn't. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
That is true because I've heard stories about you as a child from your parents where they're like, "Do you want to stay up on New Year's Eve?" And you're like, "No, it's my bedtime."
Yeah.
You're like a 34-year-old woman or something. Like 4. You're like, no, it's bedtime. I need to go upstairs. That's something I never would have done as a kid.
See, okay, then maybe that's just the difference. I just have a really hard, and also the other thing that I know is coloring my vision here a little bit is because I've seen it so many times relentlessly in movies where kids just mess everything up.
Yeah.
It's like everything will be going well and then the child does something to mess things up and then you're like, okay, well that
This is why my dad hates Max and Ruby.
Really? Oh, is it because of Max?
Yeah, well, my dad is always like, every single episode is the same. My dad never told me about how much he hated Max and Ruby until we got older because he didn't want to like
ruin it,
crush us as children. Yeah.
Max and Ruby was great.
It was a great show.
I loved that show.
Yeah, but Max and Ruby is like the king of that because it is like, Max, I'm leaving you in this white room with this chocolate cake. Please don't smear it all over the walls. And then she's like, but but I'm going to go away for 4 hours to go to grandma's house. And then what does Max do? He takes the cake and he throws it on the wall, and then he smears it everywhere, and he draws murals. And then, but by the end of the show, and this is what my dad hated the most, was not that, like, I mean, he did say Ruby was an idiot, but he's like, my dad's big thing was not that Ruby was always a moron for, like, setting Max up to, like, do the most damage possible.
Sure.
It was that by the end of it, everybody would just relish in Max's
like he's just so silly.
Yeah, they would be like, "Oh, it's okay, Max, that you got like chocolate cake all over the walls. We were actually thinking about painting these brown tomorrow, anyways." So like by the end of the show, Max suffers no consequences. It's like Ruby sets him up to do the most damage possible. Okay, Max, I'm gonna leave you in this room full of fireworks. Please don't blow the house up.
Okay, but here's the difference.
End of the episode, Max blows the house up, and then they're like, "That's okay. We were thinking about moving anyways."
Okay. Here's the difference, though.
All right. What's the difference?
The difference is that it's silly. There's no real consequences because it's a cartoon. In horror movies, it's life or death.
Horror movies can be silly.
All right. Cut the cameras.
No, but I do get what you're saying, because this isn't supposed to be a silly horror movie. It's supposed to be a scary horror movie.
It's supposed to be a scary horror movie, and it's supposed to be like, you know, like there's actual consequences to what you're doing. Yeah. Like her getting out of the boat could have mean her dying. It also could have meant Sandra Bullock's character dying.
Right.
Like there's actual consequences here, and horror movies love to do that. To like it almost feels like a ploy. It almost feels like a pawn, you know. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna make you really frustrated, or this is gonna add tension, or whatever. The kid's gonna do something dumb,
right? Which
is actually something that I really appreciate about the Babadook. Because the kid in that movie is extremely annoying, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it because of the messaging of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in a lot of these movies, the kids will be ridiculously annoying. They never listen. They do stupid stuff. And it's all just to, like, make things more difficult for the main character.
Right.
I just feel like there's a better way to do that instead of creating this, like, this mess up of a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's... But I what were we talking about?
Kids being annoying. It feels like a cheat.
Yes. Okay. My thoughts on it are that I do think in a lot of instances it's the screenwriter, like, to your point, pulling some strings, right? They're trying to add tension. And the problem is that if you pull too hard, right? If you imagine like a movie, like somebody controlling like an actual puppet, right? If you pull too hard and you make the movement seem unnatural, it draws your attention to the hand up above manipulating the puppet. And that's what I think just separates like the really good movies from the really bad ones, you know? Because in the really good movies, you never notice like when the hand's there, you know what I mean? You don't feel it pulling those strings because the progression feels so natural, right? Like in A Quiet Place, I think the scene where the wife is giving birth is done so well. The build up to it is done very well. The climax is great. The all of it is so well done, and it never feels contrived. And there's not any point where I feel like they jerk it too fast or they are trying to super slow it down to like really build the tension. The whole thing flows very natural. It's tough to explain to you, but I think it flows in this way that feels very natural. And when you bring kids into it, right, kids have this sort of a chaotic component to them. And I think there becomes this own challenge where if you don't start thinking of the kids like they're people, that's when maybe I think you start to like pull too hard in one direction, where it's like, well, what if we just had the kid get up because I don't know. Well, kids do stuff like that, right? Kids do. I did stuff like that as a kid. So
I think that's like it really is super noticeable to me. And not only is it noticeable to me because it feels like why would you do that? I know that kids do stupid stuff all the time, but like normally when kids do stupid stuff, there is still a reason behind it, whether it's curiosity, whether it's like, whatever the case is,
Right.
Kids still have a reason for doing things.
Right.
But there are times where I'm just like, I can see the writing. I can see, like, we need something else to go wrong. And so it really ruins it for me, because anytime I watch a horror movie and they introduce a child, I'm like, okay. Here we go. Because it happens pretty much every single time. Except for, I did also really appreciate Pet Sematary in that way. Because although the child died, it died in a way where I was like, that's realistic.
Yeah, that kid was also off a perk the whole movie. It's pretty funny to watch him.
It was. But in the beginning, he wanders into a busy road. That feels, that doesn't feel like stupid to me. That's just...
That's like something a kid would do.
Something a kid would do, especially like as a toddler. Like there's certain things that kids can do in their innocence. Kids can do without knowing any better.
Sure.
But you don't have to make them like just a walking bag of bricks. Like
yeah. It's like I said, I think that might be the most difficult thing, right? Is like, when you're writing, you're always trying to get in the head of who your character is, and I think people sometimes just have a really tough time
infantilizing.
Turning that clock back a little bit. Like, you've been an adult for how long now, and it's tough to like really go back and think about like yourself as a kid instead of just like. I think a lot of it comes from screenwriters that are parents or screenwriters that have nephews, nieces, whatever it is, and you're just kind of watching kids do things. You're not actually in their heads. You're just watching them do things. So you look at it and you're like, oh, that was stupid. Why did you go and do that? Right. But you don't understand where their head was when they went to go and do that thing. And I think that is maybe the big divide between like a really great, like well-written child and one that is like angeringly stupid. And you're like, why did they do that? There's no need for them to do that there.
No, you're definitely right in saying that. It's kind of like in Mad Men when Donald Draper's son just like slammed his hand or his forehead or whatever onto the...
See, but once again, I did that as a kid.
Okay, but that... See...
I think... I don't know if I...
Well, what were you doing calling the kid dumb then? You're over there making fun of the kid.
See, because I would never do something. I would never do something like that now.
Yeah.
Stupid kid.
No, okay. So you have no room then.
Well, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like I stuck my head in there and then I shut the lid on it.
Okay.
I just set my hand on top of it.
You set your hand on top of it.
On top of the panini press, yeah.
You set your hand on a panini press.
It was either a panini press or a waffle maker. I wasn't keeping that good a track.
So you and Donald Draper's son are no different then in that way.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we had that on record.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you though, specifically about Bird Box. How do you feel you would do in this situation?
I would do awful.
Awful?
Oh my God, I'd do terrible. I was thinking about it. I was like, the navigation component alone would get me killed in 5 seconds. Like, I barely know my way around with vision.
That's true.
Without vision?
Yeah.
I park my car in a parking garage and I can't find it again. And I have perfectly seeing eyes.
Yeah.
And if I were in the Bird Box world and I had to like find stuff with a blindfold, oh my God, I'd be like Velma. I'd be on my hands and knees,
My glasses.
Yeah, where are my glasses?
I think I'm giving myself max 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks?
Yeah. I think I'm max 2.5 weeks. And I think it's because after that, I would have to start going to like scrounge at a grocery store or something like that.
Well, see, that's a good point, is like, how do you start off in the Bird Box universe, right?
Sure.
Because like, if you could quickly get into a house where you don't have to like blindfold and you have a certain amount of supply of food and all that stuff, I could see you lasting. The problem is the minute where you like have to go out anywhere, you know what I mean? Because the minute I actually have to start traveling, it's over for me. Well, I don't know where I am.
You don't know where you are. You don't know where other people are, and Lord knows I can't hear. So I'm like, there's one sense that's gone. There's another sense that's gone. I'm walking around like a chicken with my head cut off, and then I die.
Well, and then the other thing to worry about too is that you also got these people that are trying to get you to like take your blindfold off, but then there's also the like mystical spirit that can mimic people's voices and try and be like, take your mask off,
Yeah, there were some people that were speculating that it's that it might be Cthulhu. It does feel very Lovecraft, you know.
Yeah, I could see it being like a Cthulhu type of a monster.
Yeah, because it does have a physical form. It's not just like the wind and everything. It does have a physical form, but we never see it in the movie, which we almost did. That would have been awful.
Interesting. Yeah, I had another thought while I was watching this movie.
Okay.
So if you're really into conspiracy theories,
I am.
There's something that happens seemingly a lot when somebody either comes upon something that somebody else doesn't want them coming upon or anything like that. Whichever organization or group of people or even just one person, they don't want somebody to come upon something, but somebody does happen to come upon something. Are you following me?
I am following.
So say I find out about something and an entity doesn't want me to find out about it.
Yeah.
A very common tactic is to like leave very cryptic voicemails. Basically threatening you. But the whole idea is that you like ultimately the entity isn't actually serious about the threats that they're making.
Yeah.
The hope is that they are going to scare you into poofing yourself.
Yeah.
So that you can, like, they can just frame the whole thing as a poof.
Yeah.
And that's it, you know?
Yeah. I'm really loving the terminology.
A poof?
Yeah.
I think it has a little bit of a cartoonish flair to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had a thought during the movie where I was like, I almost feel like this monster is a little bit like that. You know what I mean? Like, it can't actually physically hurt you.
Yeah.
But if you like listen to it or see it, right, then it can hurt you. I don't know. That was another connection I had to it.
Right, it makes you hurt yourself in that way. That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that aspect of it. Is sort of like a convincing entity because it can't physically do anything to you unless you look at it.
Right. But then, you know, I also wonder, though, there are these people that see it.
Yeah.
And they are almost like trying to convert you into seeing it in a weird way. They can hurt you.
Sure.
You know, so they're almost like extensions of this thing, almost like puppets. So if you can be hurt by them, is that also like the thing taking a physical form to hurt you?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. That is really interesting. I mean, it's a different view than if you look at it through like the rapture standpoint.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of like piece together different parts of the movie to kind of feel that way. That's really interesting. Well, maybe it's not just it wasn't just kids in this movie because Olympia also lets in that British guy who's like the puppet guys that you were talking about.
Yeah.
She's just like, I just remember what it was like to be out there, and so I just let him in without consulting anybody, and then he ends up getting everybody poofed.
Yeah, he ends up poofing everybody.
Yeah, he ends up poofing everybody. He tries to get the babies to see this thing, and I'm wondering, how does a like actual newborn infant poof itself?
I don't know. That's a good question, honestly.
Yeah, that seems like something for maybe like a B movie to try out.
Yeah, we need like a Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
Like a movie like Toxic Avenger to try that one out.
Yeah, but it's like Bird Box or something like that.
Yeah.
I do.
That is so bad.
I mean, he was trying. It made me wonder. He was trying to get the babies to look at this thing.
The scene where Olympia poofs herself is funny anyways. Because she like Hulk smashes through that wall.
She does.
She's like, boom! Yeah. It's like a train hitting like a, you know what I mean? Like
she does, and then she just like folds out the window.
Yeah, it's funny.
It is really, really funny. And on top of that, Olympia doesn't really do a whole lot of favors for herself. Seems like a sweet enough girl.
Super sweet.
But my God, I mean, she's a Disney adult. You know,
that is true.
She's a second pregnant woman. I mean, what are we talking about here? She lets a British man into the house. I wouldn't do that now. Never mind in an apocalyptic scenario.
Yeah. Well, her character is just kind of like, her character just brings about the idea, I guess, to, like, being empathetic is stupid.
Sure.
I think she's just supposed to be like evidence of that because
she's too soft.
She's too soft or whatever. But then there comes the point of, like, if you aren't empathetic, then, like, bad things can come of that. As well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The movie kind of plays on the fence a little bit with that whole thing, you know?
Like, it's every survival scenario. Right. Are you empathetic? Are you trying to help other people? Or are you trying to save yourself and who you're close to? Because that's the ultimate question. I feel like a lot of people, when they're watching these kinds of movies, the survival situations, they put themselves in the situation first of all. That's just natural.
Sure.
And then when these people or these other characters come into play, where it's like, you know, you're giving up your resources, you're putting yourself at risk to save them. Right. I feel like most people's immediate reaction is like, why are you doing that? I wouldn't do that. Yeah. But then also, if you actually put yourself in that situation, that's a really difficult choice to try and make. Yeah. You know, somebody is begging you to let them in your house. Somebody's begging you to save them. And you, as a human, I mean, you have empathy, generally speaking. And so you're trying to think, like, is this person going to harm me? Can I trust them? Sure. Or am I going to utilize all of my resources for myself and the people that I know that I can trust?
Right. Yeah, and I guess the old guy in the beginning of the movie, he's kind of stripped. He is. You can tell he, like, generally would be that way, but his wife is the one that ends up trying to save everybody. Yes. It's sort of how he ends up landed with all these other people in the house. Yeah. But, you know, it's interesting, like, even he sort of seems to grow a little bit of a fondness just because there's people there and he's not totally alone anymore. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
But his distrust would have saved everybody.
Yeah, I mean, his distrust of the British guy for sure would have saved everybody.
He was going to poof that guy.
Yeah, he was going to poof him. It's true.
And he should have. He should have, and they should have let him. I don't know why. I almost wonder if there should have been, like, how can you test for something like that, you know? Do you have to look at their eyes? Because it seemed like his eyes were fine at the beginning. I don't know if it's like you have to look close enough at them in order to see there's something wrong.
Well, but then the other weird thing, though, is that, like, you know, Sandra Bullock and the kids rolled up to the blind school at the end. Yeah. And the blind people were like, let us see your eyes. Yeah. What do you guys see? Yeah, my mom is an eye doctor, so there are different kinds of blindness other than just, like, literal, like, it's black and I can't see anything, right?
Well, I think that they were seeing people in there, right?
Well, I guess maybe, yeah.
I think that they were seeing people because, like, the blind schools have seeing teachers. Not all of them are. Okay. But like they will hire seeing teachers just for safety reasons, I think. Okay. And so I think that maybe that's how that started, and then they just kind of took in more and more people who were searching for help.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. But sorry, I guess I was just thinking more about, like, who you let in and who you don't, and poor Ray. Sorry, I'm all over the place right now.
Wait, who's Ray?
Ray, he that was his name in Get Out. He's a black guy that had all the cryptic knowledge.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, and he ended up getting poofed by
his own actions.
Fish fingers or something.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really want to know how he got that nickname, but
yeah. Maybe he just likes the fish finger food, you know.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't really make it super. They don't have, like, a system. None of the characters have this system for, like, verifying. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're just, like, a person walking around outside without a blindfold on, you're suspect.
I was suspect of him because he was talking about, he was like, I just kept running and I kept running and I kept running. Right. And he wasn't sweaty. Yeah. He wasn't sweaty. He wasn't out of breath. There was nothing going on with him. I would have been like, you can stay in the garage. Right. You know, that would have been it for me. But another question, how did you feel about the acting in this movie?
That's a good question. I didn't think the acting was bad. Sure. I'm not a Sandra Sandra Bullock fan.
Yeah.
I don't like her very much.
Yeah.
Her acting for me is often it just feels very stale.
Sure.
I don't think she's that bad at playing like a frantic person.
Yeah.
So she kind of works for me a little bit in this movie. I also don't think though that she has this like groundbreaking performance, if that makes any sense. Like she's enough to be convincing, and I think that's how I feel about like Sandra Bullock a lot. Is that if there are roles that she has where I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah,
it's taking me out of the movie.
Yeah,
but if it's not that way, I often feel like Sandra Bullock, for me personally, is just like she's convincing, but I'm not attached to her.
Yeah,
she's not making me feel anything, I guess is how I would put it.
A lot of her roles to me have felt very, I don't know how I would put it. She's very stoic, maybe is the word.
Yeah.
She's very like damaged. I'm a closed book.
Yeah.
That's a lot of her characters that I have seen.
Yeah. She likes to play a little bit of that, like, and in a way, I kind of like that about her career because it's a little more uncommon, I think, for like an actress to be playing, a little bit more of that, not hyper feminine character. So that's kind of a cool angle of her career.
It is.
I would say, as far as like female actresses, all actresses are women. As far as actresses go, that I think do that much better, I would say like Jennifer Jason Leigh, I think that's her name.
I don't know who that is.
Have you ever seen Fast Times with Rich Mile?
No, I haven't actually.
Have you seen Hateful Eight?
No, but it's been on my list. But the thing is, I want to watch the extended cut.
Did you watch? Okay, this is a weird one. Did you watch that show about that? Like, it was on Netflix. I think it was called Atypical.
I did not watch Atypical, but I have heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Okay, she's the mom on Atypical.
Okay.
I feel like she does this really good job for me, where she is good at sort of playing this in between. She's not quite as like closed off, I would say, as Sandra Bullock plays a lot of those characters, but I think she does this really good job of being like a very complicated female like centric character. I mean, as far as the acting goes, for me, I don't have any problems with how Sandra Bullock pulled this character off. I think that it's been one of her better roles, in my opinion. For sure.
Just specifically because like that's her. That's who she is, in film. But more so, I feel like I remember the rest of the acting being better than I thought it was this time. There were quite a few moments with the rest of the characters, and I don't know, I don't think it was the acting per se, I think it was the script falling short. Because a lot of the lines felt very rehearsed, it felt very Netflix, I guess, to me.
I would agree. I mean, there's just, and that's largely how I feel about Bird Box. Is like, I think once again, it's one of those horror movies where I'm like, that was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
The execution for me is just sort of.
I'm a little surprised that they cut off Sarah Paulson's character as quick as they did.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I wanted Machine Gun Kelly. I wanted him to.
I forgot about that.
I wanted Machine Gun Kelly because they include like that's another like random celebrity cameo that they have in there, and they're like,
is he here?
Machine Gun Kelly stealing the car, man, and then we just never see Machine Gun Kelly and that girl he was with ever again.
They both sucked as characters. The girl was like a short little cop that just like had some sort of an ego problem.
Was she a cop?
She was a cop, and she mentioned that like 3 different times within the first 5 minutes of us knowing her character.
That was another, like, the screenplay there is terrible because, Machine Gun Kelly's just dropping the F-bomb like every other sentence. And she's like, I'm a cop. Why are you doing drugs?
Yeah.
It's like that. And that's their whole dynamic. And then, of course, because whatever, it's a stressful situation, they end up sleeping together and stealing the car and driving off. And that's the last we ever see of them.
It is the last we ever see of them. And then obviously we don't have the car anymore, so that later Sandra Bullock's character and Tom just don't have the car to get anywhere. They have to go down the river.
They just hoof it.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't have too much of an issue with like the acting itself as much as I thought the script was kind of lacking a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think when I first watched this movie, I thought this is my problem when there's too much hype around a movie. Is I watch it, I have these expectations, and then I'm like...
Yeah, I mean, nothing ever lives up to the hype,
No,
nothing could ever...
It doesn't. But I mean, it was a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It was the same thing that happened with Obsession, where a bunch of different people were saying, oh my gosh, this movie was so scary, this movie was, never... It ruins things for me. I don't like hearing that a horror movie is scary, because then I'm going in thinking that it's going to be scary, and then because I watch too many horror movies, I come out and I'm like, that wasn't scary.
That wasn't scary. Yeah, I understand.
Obsession was a great movie. It was really good. I enjoyed watching it, but it was not scary.
No, Obsession really wasn't very scary.
No.
So yeah, I agree. I think Bird Box... I don't know. I these days I feel like I have a little bit of mixed feelings about hype.
Sure, okay.
Like, in the sense that I'm with you, I don't like hearing movie hype because it makes me feel a particular way going into a movie. Yeah. And, like, I know that my excitement for a film almost never match, like, what people have been saying about it to me.
But at the same time, it's like, people are excited about movies.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, and that's another thing where I'm like, I hate to be the curmudgeonly old man that's like, stop talking about this movie, because I mean, Obsession now I think Obsession is gonna break a world record here pretty soon for like maybe biggest return on like a indie movie budget. I don't know if that's totally true, but it's definitely going to be one of the ones that's like up there all time for sure, relative to like how much money it's made and its budget. And I think that something like that is still able to happen today is just proof that like it's always possible.
It's always
and
possible.
That's exciting.
It is very, very exciting. I think that I don't necessarily hate hype around a movie. I just don't like it when people say specific things.
Sure.
It's like, oh, this movie is so scary, or oh, this movie is so this. Like, if people are excited about it and they're like, this movie was really good, that's completely fine. I don't want to hear anything else about it.
But then, I also have a hard time like judging it too, because, I think part of the joy of movies as well is sort of this like conversation about them where like you might not find a movie scary, but somebody else genuinely does.
No,
and I think there's kind of that cool.
Yeah, I don't think I'm saying that I don't like. It's a personal thing. I don't want to hear it before I watch the movie.
Yeah. Before I understand that, because then it just builds up expectations about what the movie's supposed to be, and I like to go experience a movie very neutrally before I come out with like thoughts on it. So I understand that. I definitely understand that.
And I can't like, I don't blame anybody for trying to have that conversation or anything like that. But, I don't want to hear it. I want to go in neutrally.
No, I get it. I heard one of the craziest movie spoiler like stories yesterday. So my coworker, he was telling me a story, and he was saying that he was really into watching Peaky Blinders. Okay. And there was a Peaky Blinder. I don't watch Peaky Blinders. Yeah. There was a Peaky Blinders movie that had come out, and one of the people that he works with was. They both were talking about Peaky Blinders. They both like Peaky Blinders, and so like the day the movie, he went the guy he worked with went the day like for the first screening the day the movie came out, and he texts him like right as soon as the movie's done, and he's like, "Bro, can you believe that X, Y, and Z happened?" And so
I hate people that do that. I hate
my coworker was like, "Bro, what?" He's like, yeah, did you not see the movie? And he's like, he's like, no, I haven't seen the movie. He's like, yeah, it's been out. And he's like, check this watch, it has been out for 2 hours.
That's insane.
Is that not crazy?
I'd be so, that's like if somebody went and spoiled the Backrooms movie for me right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
I've been steering very clear of any
Backrooms
like, content. Yeah. All I did was I went and I wanted to see what the ratio was looking like between the audience and the critic scores, just to get a general feel of like where people were feeling about it. And I was like, that's it. I will not be clicking on any news articles mentioning the Backrooms. I will not be searching it in my search bar. None of that stuff. I'm just going to leave it, and we'll get to see it
when we see it.
And yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Anyways, that's pretty much all we have on Bird Box. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, huh?
Yeah. I hope you liked it. Yeah.
I hope you actually liked it, like hitting the button. Liked it. That's what I would do personally.
Which button? That's the question.
Which button?
Yeah, the like button or the subscribe button.
Oh, hey. Hopefully both. You should hit both of those buttons.
You should ring that bell.
We're using a lot of terms today.
But that's the thing, you know, have you ever like watched a YouTube video and they'll like flash up like a million different little emoticons and they'll be like bing, ching, and then they'll like go to the like subscribe thing and it'll be like and then it'll be like it'll go to the bell and then it'll be like gong. You're like, what's this YouTube video? And suddenly there's like a sensory overload of like 30 bing, bing, bong.
No, yeah, you're right about that. Maybe we'll have one of those one day. Maybe you guys should ring the bell. Does that do anything? I don't.
Every time I see that, I'm like, this makes me want to like not.
Yeah.
It feels like doing too much.
It is doing too much.
It just seems like a lot of like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit.
I'm not gonna let your mind propaganda dictate my decisions.
Anyways, like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe. Ring our bell like Anita Ward. Is that who sings that song?
You can ring my bell. Ring my bell. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's Anita Ward.
Okay, all right. Well,
fact check me.
Well, then let us know in the comments if that's Anita Ward. And also how long you think that you would last in a Bird Box.
Yeah, how long would you last in a Bird Box scenario?
Yeah. Let us know. Let us know how big your ego is. Yeah. That's a big.
If you say anything over a month, I'm calling cap. Nobody's lasting over a month in the Bird Box scenario. I don't care who you are, unless you're Zatoichi the Blind Samurai.
Or you're just blind. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If you're blind, you're on the hook. Like,
because
even if those guys come up to you, like, I mean, there's
doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything. They can be like, oh, we want you to see. You're like, oh, sorry, man,
man. If this movie is about the rapture, that's kind of screwed up. You get left behind just because you're disabled.
Yeah.
Ooh. Anyways, yeah.
What did? Actually, I can't say that on here. Never. Bye. Well, bye. We're going. We're gonna have another like 30-minute conversation if we stay here any longer.
Yes. Make sure that you're always thinking about what you're watching. Bye.